concern, yes, but we have had conversations with them. City engineer met with them on the site. We've given them opportunity to provide written comment for this meeting and before the last meeting, and we have not heard anything from them.
I have one question specifically about the zoning, the CO zoning.
Okay.
It looks like from the way that this, because I agree, the split zoning just doesn't make a lot of sense, but it looks like, it almost seems like when this was originally done within the comprehensive plan, the scope of the comprehensive plan, that they were looking to route Santa Fe north and part of that wedge, and then drop it south to try to fix that issue with the intersection. I understand that CO shouldn't be part of this. We shouldn't be split zoning on the same piece of parcel of land, but that's the only justification I can see for that CO wedge to be there. I mean, I would be willing to accommodate a rezone just to make it consistent with the current street alignments, but understanding that those street alignments are going to change, and that's why I brought it up, because when we're looking at a rezoning, we have to think about what our future street alignments are, regardless of whether or not they may not be part of this existing discussion. And so, from the standpoint of just making things consistent, I'd be willing to accommodate as a rezone request. But the issue of the traffic alignment still does concern me, and I'm assuming it would concern Meadowbrook Rehabilitation Hospital. It's directly impacting them in terms of their ingress and egress. So
can you show us another slide of without the change to Poplar Street? That's the one.
Yes. I don't know if you could move the cursor over the intersection. Right there. So that's the alignment that was approved previously. That's what you saw last spring.
And that's what they asked for last spring.
No. This was the 56 quarter. This was what was originally part of the 56 quarter.
Yeah, I think I have my dates messed up. It was what was approved with and to accommodate Waverly Point subdivision.
Yes.
Right.
The subdivision never got developed for reasons like a lot of the residential property didn't get developed. And so this property no longer being viable as part of a single-family residential subdivision, it was marketed or sold to First Light or on contract with First Light. And their site plan, and there is a exhibit in the staff report that shows their site plan, that would bisect their site, that previous alignment. And so in order to make that work for their project, Poplar Street has to move to the east. It's not something that would happen with the first phase of their project. They have a three-phase project. It would be developed with phase two. The first part of it would be developed with phase two, or built with phase two at their expense. The second part of it, the part that connects this street to Buckeye Street to the north, which is adjacent to the school, that would happen at the third phase. The last part of the extension of that street would be actually connecting it to existing Buckeye Street, which is a little further to the north, and that's something that the city has agreed in the past to pay for.
So basically, First Light would pay for the street from Santa Fe north and to that north, and then the city would pay the part to connect it to Buckeye after phase 3 of the project.
That's right. I'm trying to get to the right slide here. It's probably the second to last slide, Doreen.
That's the one.
Okay, so this slide shows you that the red, the alignment of Poplar Street, and that section right at the top Actually, it's, could you point the cursor down just a little? Let's bring it down a little further, down to that parcel line. Right there, right there. So that's the north edge of the First Light property, right there.
Okay.
So, the property owner, First Light, is on the hook to pay for that improvement, to connect that. With the first half of that would be with the second phase. The last half would be with the third phase. Everything north of that is on school property. As the school develops that, and as the city has a budget for it, that section will be improved. There's not a written agreement that commits the city to do that, but that is a long-range plan. And that's how these roads get built. They get built through long-range plans and implementation in the short term, unless someone says we're going to pay for it right now. But that's how that would be implemented.
So going back to my question, who pays for the realignment from the area south of 56 Highway or Santa Fe?
That has not been determined at this time.
Who would normally pay?
I think in this case, it would be the city that would pay for it. And is that?
Yeah, it would be a city and whoever else we had involved, whether it would be KDOT, whether we had CARS funding, but it's not included in the First Light.
Right. At this point, though, it's not necessary for us to fund and build the realignment at that point because they'll have access of Poplar going south onto Santa Fe. So they'll pay for that portion. So it's not part of their initial construction plans. It'll be part of our master plan with KDOT, with everyone else, and funding may come from different pieces there. But it's not necessary as part of Phase 1 for First Light to have that connection, and that if we're committing to that down the road as part of that further plan. Am I understanding correctly? But we're not funding it initially. We're just saying that's how we're going to proceed with this as part of the zoning approval. You'll fund the road to connect to the north part of your parcel into the connector into Santa Fe, and at some point, we're going to feed the connector and reroute Poplar to reach into it.
That is correct. By necessity, this is implemented in stages.
Right.
I was just going to add that the Poplar south of US 56 isn't needed until 56 is expanded.
And there's no timeline on that at
Right.
this point. We're 3 years away or 15 years away. I mean, there's really is no true timeline in place.
And there's no way to keep the current alignment south of 56 and Santa Fe.
No, I mean, it's going to cause a traffic problem if we do that.
Not even that, it's just the
That,
property
wait,
lines.
I want to hear from the people that actually.
I'm not sure I understood the.
Well, I guess the question is, I mean, why can't we just leave Poplar the way it is? I guess I don't understand why does the rezoning for First Light necessitate us to have to do work on the realignment?
I think I can answer the first part of that question, maybe you can pick up the last part. So, if you look at Poplar Street, Poplar Street is a collector, and it's at a half-mile point between the next arterials, which is Center Street and Waverly. The Transportation Master Plan, which has been adopted by the city, it's the city's plan, identifies collectors at half-mile points between the arterials. What that will do is it will allow traffic to circulate better through the city. If you don't have those collectors, it tends to push the traffic out to the arterials and creates a problem. So this is also part of implementing the city's Transportation Master Plan, is connecting what is currently Buckeye Street with this extension of Poplar. Do you have anything to add to that?
I don't think so.
All right, so what I'm seeing is that in Phase 1, we're going to have the alignment of Poplar on the east side of the property, down into that triangle area. Right side ingress, right side egress out of there, because you can't make a left turn there, obviously. And then anybody who needs to go east out of that property will be using the secondary road that's on the west edge of the property. Does that correct?